Just minutes ago, Ford shocked the car market with its latest announcement. A company synonymous with innovation and resilience found itself at a crossroads as the automotive world pivoted toward electrification and sustainability. The stakes were monumental: adapt or risk fading into obscurity. But transformation is never easy. This is the story of Ford's bold leap into the future, a journey of internal struggles, strategic pivots, and daring breakthroughs. What internal battles tested the company's cohesion? Could Ford's vision for a sustainable future reignite the spark that made it a household name for over a century? And what is the shocking announcement Ford made that has everyone talking? What's happening? The automotive world stood still for a moment, a rare occurrence. When Ford's CEO stepped up to the podium, the weight of the brand's legacy palpable in every collected breath in the room. For decades, Ford had symbolized the heartbeat of American automotive ingenuity, but today, the echoes of past triumphs were temporarily drowned out by an alarming announcement that threatened to shift the industry's balance. Years of craftsmanship and innovation seemed to hang by a thread as the CEO unveiled a series of strategic decisions aimed at addressing the company's immediate and long-term prospects. Production of many beloved models, including the renowned F-150 Lightning, was to be scaled back. Alongside these cuts came news of plant closures and a significant reduction in the workforce. Words like streamlining and realigning filled the air, euphemisms masking the reality of an entrenched struggle. In dealerships across the country, unease mingled with disbelief. Rows of F-150 trucks and Broncos gleamed under showroom lights, iconic badges of reliability and nostalgia juxtaposed against the uncertainty of the moment. Sales staff fielded calls from anxious consumers, the lines of communication barely managing to keep pace with the unfolding drama. The announcement had hit home with a truth as clear as a cold snap on a spring morning. Ford, a titan of the car industry, was in trouble. Within minutes of the announcement, social media platforms buzzed with varied responses. Some sympathized with the difficulty of the decisions. Others questioned Ford's ability to adapt to evolving market demands. The collective gaze of investors, consumers, and industry commentators fixated on the pages of the press release. Ford's share price began its descent, highlighting market apprehensions and concerns over the company's capability to navigate its course. Hidden in plain sight, Ford's announcement pierced through the surface of what had, for some time, been camouflaged beneath the veneer of tradition and excellence. Although the reveal seemed sudden, signs were scattered all along the timeline, visible to those with a keen eye for the automotive industry. Dealerships were awash in stock, some new, others showing signs of age, with classics and modern iterations alike sitting under wraps for months, if not longer. The showroom's diversity, featuring everything from steadfast F-150s to the iconic Broncos, had unwittingly become a snapshot of stagnation. Despite their aesthetic appeal, these vehicles reflected an inventory issue, a disconnect between production output and real market demand. The introduction of electric vehicles, ushered into much fanfare, appeared out of place amidst the gasoline stalwarts, interestingly divergent in appearance and reception. Efforts to align with global shifts towards sustainability met with tepid consumer interest, struggling to create the same buzz that Ford's conventional offerings generated with ease. Would-be EV enthusiasts approached Ford's alternatives cautiously, often swayed instead by other automakers leading the EV charge with bold, futuristic models. Back in the boardrooms, questions arose regarding production forecasts and demand estimates. Sales representatives, barraged by inventory, unknowingly masked an imbalance that extended beyond surface-level optics. As the daily operations continued, it became increasingly clear that calm and order in the showroom could not quell the deeper pressures building behind the scenes. Red flags raised. Examining Ford's recent performance painted a vivid picture of misalignment across its divisions. Ford Blue, responsible for retail operations and iconic models, experienced dwindling profit margins, a consequence of increasing costs and burgeoning inventories. The division sought to maintain an extensive lineup without garnering the corresponding demand, inevitably creating financial stress. Meanwhile, the electric vehicle sector symbolized another layer of complexity for Ford. Despite industry momentum towards sustainable transportation, the division struggled to find its footing. Stiff competition from established players like Tesla and emerging threats from legacy automakers investing heavily in electric technology amplified internal and external pressures. The high-stakes environment required Ford to maintain pace with innovation, yet structural hesitations and strategic ambiguities led to operational inefficiencies. The misalignment between production goals and market realities manifested visibly in inventory surpluses, further reinforcing the challenges at hand. These tensions translated into tangible consequences for Ford's dealerships. As the critical touchpoint between the company and its customers, dealerships reported growing frustrations as unsold vehicles swelled. Operational inefficiencies led to increased holding costs, with each unsold vehicle serving as a tangible reminder of strategic gaps. As the strain intensified, clearer charts of red ink etched deeper lines into financial statements, an inescapable call to action. The announcement's impact. As industry experts digested the specifics of Ford's shocking announcement, their reactions underscored the precariousness of the company's standing. Production cuts, plant closures, and workforce reductions on such a scale were considered a bold, albeit necessary, attempt to realign Ford's strategic objectives with market realities. The reaction among shareholders was immediate, a plummet in Ford's stock value as confidence wavered. Analysts offered mixed evaluations, with some lauding the decisive action and others questioning whether these measures would be sufficient to stem the tide of declining sales and mounting losses. Consumers, once loyal brand advocates, were now filled with uncertainty. The announcement caused many to rethink their relationships with Ford, doubting the future of their existing or prospective vehicles. In the bustling landscape of the automotive market, opportunities for competitors beckoned, eager to capitalize on Ford's struggles. Internally, the broader implications of the announcement resonated deeply. The human element, workers facing potential layoffs and communities grappling with job losses, ventured into the foreground. It was a moment of reckoning for the company, realizing that its legacy, synonymous with automotive prowess, was firmly in the balance. This unexpected turn of events marked a significant inflection point in Ford's journey. The decisions made at this juncture would play out on a wide stage, while the industry collectively braced for ripple effects. How Ford's leadership navigated these uncharted waters would prove pivotal in reshaping its future within an ever-evolving automotive landscape. Aftermath and adaptation. The days following Ford's shocking announcement were marked by a rapid cascade of events. From the moment the news hit the press, the company's immediate future seemed uncertain. Dealerships, once bustling with the excitement of steady sales and customer loyalty, were left grappling with a sudden surge of consumer doubt. Sales representatives, who had long championed Ford's brand as synonymous with quality and reliability, found themselves in an unfamiliar position, defending not just the product, but the very future of the company. At the heart of the fallout was Ford's stock, which plummeted in response to the announcement. Investors, always quick to react to perceived instability, expressed their concern by sending the company's stock into a sharp decline. While the market's volatility is often tempered by short-term fluctuations, the magnitude of this drop was a clear signal that Ford's move had sparked genuine uncertainty. Analysts were divided. Some heralded the restructuring as a necessary and bold step, while others questioned whether it was enough to reverse the downward trajectory the company had been on for years. In the midst of this chaos, Ford's leadership team moved swiftly to implement a series of strategic maneuvers aimed at stabilizing the company. Cost-cutting measures were prioritized across multiple levels of the business. The focus was on improving operational efficiency, trimming excesses in both production and staffing, and redirecting resources to areas deemed essential for future growth. Plant closures were inevitable, but Ford sought to reassure the public that these cuts were part of a long-term vision to streamline operations and position itself for the future. In terms of marketing and consumer relations, Ford faced a monumental task: how to convince consumers that their beloved brand, once a symbol of American ingenuity, could weather this storm. Dealerships were instructed to engage in open communication with customers, providing transparency about the company's plans and its commitment to delivering quality vehicles despite the challenging circumstances. This effort to adapt messaging was not just about maintaining consumer trust, but also about reviving interest in Ford's offerings amidst growing skepticism. New marketing campaigns were quickly launched, emphasizing the company's long history of resilience and innovation. Yet the challenge remained: how to convince consumers that Ford could adapt to the changing automotive landscape when it had stumbled so significantly in its recent endeavors. These moves reflected Ford's efforts to survive the immediate aftermath, but the true test would be in the long-term adaptation of the company's strategies, both in terms of product development and market perception. The question hanging in the air was whether these initial adjustments would be enough to pull the company back from the brink, or if they would prove to be a temporary patch on a much deeper wound. Cross-departmental synchronization. As Ford began to react to the shifting tide, internal alignment became an imperative. The company's historical structure, characterized by distinct silos between departments, was increasingly seen as a hindrance to rapid, coordinated action. The announcement had exposed not just external market weaknesses, but also internal misalignments. For Ford to pull itself out of of the hole it had dug. The company needed to become more agile, more collaborative, and more integrated in its approach to both production and innovation. In the immediate wake of the announcement, the first order of business was cross-departmental synchronization. The leadership team initiated a series of strategic workshops designed to foster communication and cooperation between departments that had historically operated in isolation. Sales, production, and research and development were brought together to address the company's new market reality. There was a recognition that a more seamless interaction between these critical departments was essential to meet both current and future demand. The primary goal of this synchronization was to align production capacity with actual demand, an area where Ford had faltered in recent years. By linking sales forecasts more closely with production plans, Ford hoped to avoid the overproduction issues that had plagued its supply chain. Likewise, the research and development department was tasked with accelerating the development of Ford's electric vehicles to better compete with rivals like Tesla, whose innovation was leading the charge in the rapidly evolving market. Internally, Ford's company culture shifted as well. For many years, the company's culture had been one of top-down management, with executives making the key decisions and lower-level employees carrying out those instructions. But in the face of this crisis, Ford had no choice but to empower its teams, allowing for more collaborative decision-making. There was an increased emphasis on fostering a spirit of innovation and agility, encouraging employees to think creatively and act swiftly to meet new market demands. This shift was not without resistance. Old habits die hard, and the company's entrenched ways of doing business weren't easily discarded. However, leadership worked diligently to overcome this inertia by emphasizing the importance of unity and forward-thinking collaboration. Through this push for synchronization, Ford began to see some early signs of progress. The collaborative model allowed teams to share insights, adjust plans in real time, and respond to the market's shifting demands with greater flexibility. Though it was far too early to declare victory, the first few months after the announcement showed promise that the company's internal realignment could lead to a more responsive and innovative Ford. External pressures intensified. While Ford worked to adapt internally, the company was not operating in a vacuum. The external pressures it faced were multiplying at an alarming rate, with new competitive and regulatory challenges emerging from every direction. Ford's struggles were not just internal, they were also a reflection of broader industry trends that were rapidly reshaping the automotive market. Competitors, both traditional and new, were advancing at an accelerating pace, particularly in the electric vehicle space. Companies like Tesla had established a clear lead, not just in production volume, but in brand perception and technological innovation. The rise of startups focused solely on electric vehicles added another layer of pressure, further fragmenting the market and intensifying the competition. For Ford, whose EV offerings had struggled to generate the same level of excitement, the pressure was mounting. How could the company, a veteran of the gasoline-powered vehicle world, reinvent itself to stay relevant in an increasingly green-driven marketplace? Simultaneously, regulatory forces were tightening their grip on the automotive industry. Governments around the world were pushing for stricter emission standards and offering substantial incentives for manufacturers to accelerate their transition to electric vehicles. In the US, the Biden administration's ambitious clean energy agenda only added to the pressure. For Ford, navigating these regulatory hurdles required more than just innovation. It required a strategic understanding of shifting policy landscapes and the company's ability to comply without jeopardizing its profitability. Ford's struggles in the face of these external pressures were not unique. The automotive industry as a whole was undergoing a transformation. The move toward electrification, the push for sustainable manufacturing practices, and the rise of autonomous vehicles were all contributing to a climate of uncertainty for even the most established car makers. Ford's ability to adapt to this rapidly changing environment would determine whether it could weather these external pressures or become just another casualty of the industry's revolution. Strategic measures implemented. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, Ford's leadership moved beyond reactive measures and began to implement a series of strategic changes aimed at stabilizing the company and positioning it for long-term success. These measures spanned several key areas: the formation of task forces, the adoption of cutting-edge technologies, and the revision of operational protocols. One of the first steps was the creation of dedicated task forces designed to tackle specific challenges facing the company. These task forces were composed of experts from various departments, with the goal of addressing issues like supply chain disruptions, inventory management, and product development. The task forces worked collaboratively to devise solutions that could be quickly executed, ensuring that Ford remained nimble in the face of ongoing uncertainty. Alongside these internal task forces, Ford also began to ramp up its adoption of new technologies to improve operational efficiency. From advanced manufacturing techniques to the integration of artificial intelligence and inventory management, the company recognized that technological innovation would be key to staying competitive. By incorporating these technologies into its production processes, Ford hoped to reduce costs, increase speed, and improve product quality, essential elements for regaining consumer confidence. Finally, Ford revised its operational protocols to prioritize flexibility and rapid decision-making. The company's leadership understood that to survive in the ever-changing automotive landscape, it needed to be able to pivot quickly, responding to consumer demand and technological shifts in real time. The emphasis was now on agility, making the necessary adjustments swiftly without sacrificing quality or profitability. As the months wore on, these strategic measures began to show promise. While Ford was far from out of the woods, the combination of internal realignment, technological adoption, and task force-driven problem-solving provided the company with a renewed sense of purpose. The crisis was far from over, but Ford was beginning to chart a path forward, one that would require not just adaptation, but bold, decisive action at every level of the organization. Internal conflicts and cohesion. Ford's ambitious restructuring effort was as much a battle within the organization as it was an external one. As the company pushed forward with sweeping changes, internal conflicts began to emerge. Long-standing employees, many of whom had spent their careers mastering Ford's traditional processes, found themselves struggling to adapt to the company's evolving priorities. The tension between preserving the old and embracing the new was palpable. Resistance bubbled beneath the surface as workers questioned whether the abrupt changes would lead to sustainable growth or further instability. Departments that had operated independently for decades were now being asked to collaborate closely, often clashing over priorities and strategies. Sales teams pressured for quicker turnaround times on electric vehicle models, while research and development teams emphasized the need for rigorous testing and refinement. Manufacturing departments, grappling with cost-cutting measures, faced mounting frustration as they worked to meet the demands of these competing agendas with fewer resources. Despite these challenges, Ford's leadership rose to the occasion, fostering a spirit of unity amid the turbulence. Key leaders stepped forward, emphasizing the importance of shared goals and transparent communication. CEO Jim Farley, in particular, played a pivotal role in bridging divides, hosting regular town hall meetings where employees at every level could voice concerns and receive direct responses. These forums provided not only a platform for airing grievances, but also an opportunity for leadership to reaffirm its vision and commitment to navigating the storm. Ford also introduced leadership training programs aimed at equipping managers with the tools to support their teams through the transition. These programs emphasized empathy, adaptability, and problem solving, helping to create an environment where innovation could flourish. Slowly but surely, pockets of cohesion began to emerge. Cross-functional task forces, once marked by discord, began working together more effectively, finding common ground in their shared mission to secure Ford's future. The journey to internal cohesion was far from smooth, but the seeds of transformation were being planted. While the conflicts highlighted the challenges of change, they also underscored the resilience and determination that had long been a hallmark of Ford's identity. Market responses and revelations. Externally, Ford's restructuring efforts were met with mixed reactions. Investors, analysts, and consumers alike grappled with understanding whether the company's bold moves signaled a reinvention or a desperate bid for survival. Market confidence fluctuated wildly, with stock prices rising and falling in response to every new development. Consumer sentiment was perhaps the most unpredictable factor in the equation. On one hand, loyal Ford customers remained hopeful, trusting the company to overcome its challenges. On the other, a growing number of consumers began exploring alternatives, drawn to competitors like Tesla, Rivian, and Hyundai, whose EV offerings seemed more innovative and reliable. Ford's dealerships reported a noticeable uptick in inquiries about EV models, but many potential buyers expressed concerns about the company's ability to deliver on its promises. Amidst this uncertainty, Ford's marketing team worked tirelessly to reshape the narrative. Campaigns were launched highlighting the company's storied legacy and its commitment to innovation. Advertisements showcased Ford's newest EV models, emphasizing cutting-edge features and competitive pricing. The goal was clear: to reassure consumers that Ford was not only capable of competing in the EV market, but poised to lead it. Analysts offered a similarly mixed outlook. Some praised Ford's willingness to confront its shortcomings head-on, viewing the restructuring as a necessary evolution in an industry undergoing rapid change. Others, however, remained skeptical, pointing to the company's history of missteps and questioning whether its newfound strategies would translate into meaningful results. Yet, amidst the skepticism, there were glimmers of revelation. External analyses began to highlight the ways in which Ford was repositioning itself within the industry. The company's focus on affordability, a stark contrast to Tesla's premium pricing, was seen as a potential game changer, particularly for middle-class consumers. Additionally, Ford's investments in battery technology and sustainable manufacturing practices signaled a commitment to long-term innovation. While the market's ultimate verdict was still uncertain, one thing was clear: Ford was making waves. Whether those waves would propel the company forward or pull it under remained to be seen. Realizations and breakthroughs. As the months wore on, Ford began to uncover opportunities hidden within its challenges. The company's initial setbacks forced it to reevaluate its approach, and this introspection led to several key realizations that would ultimately shape its recovery. One of the most significant breakthroughs came in the realm of product development. Recognizing the importance of standing out in the crowded EV market, Ford accelerated the launch of its new EV lineup. The introduction of models like the Mustang Mach-E and the all-electric F-150 Lightning marked a turning point. These vehicles combined the performance and reliability Ford was known for with the sustainability and innovation consumers demanded. Early reviews were promising, with critics praising the vehicle's design, functionality, and competitive pricing. In addition to its product breakthroughs, Ford made significant strides in leveraging technology to enhance its operations. The company's adoption of advanced analytics and artificial intelligence allowed it to streamline production processes, optimize supply chains, and reduce costs. These technological advancements not only improved efficiency, but also positioned Ford as a more agile competitor in the evolving automotive landscape. Ford's renewed focus on sustainability also began to yield tangible results. Investments in renewable energy and carbon-neutral manufacturing facilities earned the company recognition from environmental groups and policymakers alike. This newfound emphasis on green practices resonated with eco-conscious consumers, helping to rebuild trust in the brand. Perhaps most importantly, Ford's strategic pivots began to bear fruit in terms of financial performance. While the company's stock had yet to fully recover, initial signs of stabilization emerged. Quarterly reports indicated modest but steady growth, fueled by increased demand for the new EV models and improved operational efficiency. These early successes, while far from conclusive, provided a much-needed boost to morale. They served as proof that Ford's efforts were not in vain and that the company had the potential to reclaim its place as a leader in the industry. The turning point. The turning point for Ford came not with a single event, but through a series of pivotal moments that collectively signaled the company's trajectory was beginning to change. It was the culmination of countless adjustments, realizations, and breakthroughs that finally began to coalesce into a coherent and promising strategy. One such moment came with the official launch of the F-150 Lightning. As Ford's flagship EV, the vehicle represented everything the company had been working toward: a blend of innovation, accessibility, and sustainability. The launch event, held at the historic Rouge complex, was a spectacle designed to showcase Ford's vision for the future. The positive reception to the Lightning exceeded expectations, with pre-orders surpassing projections and signaling strong consumer interest. Another key turning point was Ford's decision to partner with leading tech companies to accelerate its EV advancements. Collaborations with firms specializing in battery technology and autonomous driving allowed Ford to leverage cutting-edge expertise while avoiding the pitfalls of going it alone. These partnerships not only enhanced Ford's technological capabilities, but also reinforced its commitment to staying at the forefront of the industry. Internally, the company's cultural transformation began to take root. The once fractured relationships between departments were gradually replaced by a spirit of collaboration and mutual respect. Employees who had been skeptical of the restructuring now saw its benefits firsthand, as the company's renewed focus on innovation and efficiency translated into tangible results. Externally, Ford's narrative shifted as well. Media coverage began to focus less on the company's struggles and more on its progress. Industry analysts took note of the strides Ford was making, revising their outlooks to reflect a more optimistic view of the company's future. By the end of this chapter in Ford's story, the pieces were finally starting to fall into place. While challenges remained, the company had successfully navigated the most tumultuous period of its transformation. The journey was far from over, but the path ahead was clearer, and Ford was ready to embrace it. The company's focus on upgrading manufacturing plants and adopting green technologies is essential for long-term success. Revitalizing its brand through storytelling and community engagement has shifted consumer perception, rekindling loyalty. But what's your opinion on this matter? Let's talk about it in the comments.